press record.
We're live.
We're live.
We're ready. We're back.
We need to say the catchphase.
Good
evening, boys.
We're here. We're back for episode 2.
Sounds like a radio show.
I know.
Is that good?
I don't know. It's like informally formal. I'm down with it.
I hope we look back on these years.
To be fair, right. Okay.
Fondly.
We're looking back already. We've done episode 1 and we've already got a Yeti mic. In level of like advancement, we're here. We're here. We're crisper. We're better.
Yes.
It's the birthday wrap-up show. Yeah.
How does it feel being old?
Oh, so a little bit of context. I turned 25 yesterday. Ugh.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
I'm only 18.
Mm-hmm. We found David on the street.
Oh, you can only find 18-year-olds on the street these days. Weird topic.
Cut this out. Get it out.
So again, good evening, boys. Has it been a minute yet before we've had to restart? Okay.
Great. Fantastic.
Excellent.
So yeah, episode 2. Episode 1 was a blur.
Yep.
We've heard things about what we've said. Can't remember any of it. I mean, we've got notes. With Iron Man 3 was a subject.
I remember that, yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of that, because we still don't know what this is.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah, it might just be Iron Man 3. That could just be it.
If you're looking for Iron Man 3 content, this might be the podcast for you.
Yeah, this is the one. If you want to know outsider, basic level knowledge from people who've just really seen the film.
Who saw it years ago.
Oh boy, we're talking about this again.
In the right place.
Steve, what talking points have you got? What's this week?
Talking points?
Yeah.
I don't know. You saying you prep for these things?
I didn't. You did. David went to the toilet and I made 3 points on the fly. So
it's how all the pros do it.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah, that's how he does it.
Who's the Australians? The really good ones.
The cold ones.
Oh, them too.
Yeah.
To be fair, I reckon they do about the same level.
They drink.
Yeah,
that's all it is. What talking points have we got? Because you're the one who actually prepped.
Well, they're just sort of main talking points of like. Okay. So the first one I've got written down. I don't know if you want to go straight into it or not. But
we'll go through the list.
Well, the list that we can cover.
Yes.
Is what makes a good villain. Okay.
Go for it.
Second one would be games that people love that annoy you.
Yes. I feel like we're going to be talking about that for a long time.
Yes, we're both quite grumpy men.
Speaking of that, one of mine is about gatekeeping.
My fourth point is gatekeep something.
Is that going to be one of the
That's
segments?
Going to be a segment.
You have to gatekeep something and say, no, it's fine. Like, I'm not gatekeeping it. I'm just saying why you're wrong.
It's fine.
I'm better.
As long as we say beforehand that we're gatekeeping it, somehow it becomes fine.
Yeah.
And then my third point is if you could repopularise any game, which game and why?
I like that one. I feel like a lot of games didn't get the love that they deserved.
Yes.
And didn't then get the cult following that. Like, because you were saying before, because we talked before this again.
We are friends.
Yeah, wild, I know. You stop it! We're back in again. Our dog is very loud. He's so verbal.
He just wants to be on.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some very controversial views.
Yeah.
He's next week's guest.
Right, okay. So the last one was, games that didn't...
Games that you would happily repopularise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because we were saying before that we're talking, and one of your points was Bulletstorm, which I played. It's all right.
Yeah, I threw it out as an example because I reckon both of us wouldn't pick it to repopularise it, but it's an example of a game that was quite well hyped. I remember all my friends downloaded the demo for this game.
Yeah,
and
nobody bought it.
No one bought it.
Or did buy it and played it for an hour and then didn't care.
Or bought it second hand.
Yeah, I bought it second hand.
I bought it second hand.
Stranger
Games.
Oh, no.
I'm older than you.
Yeah.
I'm a very old 18-year-old. That's we've already gone off topic.
Yeah.
How does it feel being 25?
Oh yeah, that was the birthday wrap-up show. 25. It's exactly the same. I still feel like I've lost years of my life due to COVID. Yikes. You know.
How old were you before in the before times?
Before the happening. When was
23. You went into COVID.
23, and I'm now 25.
You turned 24 in COVID.
Yeah.
And 25 just out.
It's alright, it didn't just happen to me. I can't complain too much. We all did it. Not all of us. It's you fuckers.
You know who you are.
Yeah. But yeah. It was a nice day yesterday. Did a lot of just chilling, chatting, merging friend groups. That's always fun.
Always fun. Always nerve-wracking. I think we have an easy time of it. I reckon Bethan had a small breakdown.
Yeah, but that's just because of... I don't know why I insist on bringing two groups of people with, like, very differing opinions on very sensitive subjects. So we sat outside, we talked, we drank, we had a fire, and then Uno started.
Suddenly friendships were...
Yeah, did we discuss
pointless.
Uno last week?
Good question.
Yeah, we talked
probably
about it.
yes.
Yeah, probably yes. We're getting the nod from yes. We've talked about Uno and how disgustingly competitive and toxic it gets. But this time it was my birthday.
Yeah, well, we had 2 quick games to show people how it worked, and then it was like, okay, training wheels are off.
Yeah.
You are now going to get screwed over.
Yeah. And guess what? My birthday didn't matter.
Yes, I was sat next to you.
Yeah.
Anyone sat next to me in Uno gets screwed over.
Yeah, and it just so happens to always be me. Yeah, then we got too loud because it was midnight, and then I just saw lights starting to pop on while we were screaming at each other, so we moved inside. And then we wrapped up there, and we called it a night. And then I was 25, and here I am, still 25.
Still 25. A quarter of your way into life. If you make it to 100.
Bold. That's a bold statement. Quarter.
Think I'm making it past 26? Idiot.
Fool. I've got a lot of plans this year.
That's the thing, because you turned 25 and we were all on Discord as we spend most of our nights.
Yeah. It ticked over.
It ticked over.
Uh-huh.
And we said, what do you want to achieve by the time you turn 26? And I think that's something that a lot of people should ask themselves when they're 25, because it's a very awkward time of life. So it's an interesting one to set goals.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the same. Stop bad habits.
Yeah.
But I think that's every... Okay, this is the year. This is the one.
This is it. New year, new me.
If anything, I just want to do more. I feel like after COVID, it was a lot of just sitting about doing nothing. Got into that habit of sitting doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, okay, things are starting to open up again. Let's go for a camping trip. Let's go for just rock climbing, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's... we played a lot of games.
It was great.
Yeah, it was
but
great.
I'm ready to go outside.
Yeah, just in time for winter.
I'll still surf.
In the northeast of England.
I'll still
yeah,
go
you're
swimming.
surfing. That's all right. And imagine the waves get.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind cold.
They're pretty cold and they're pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Like most things. But especially up here. Yeah, I spoke to an actual surfer dude, a surfer bro. I took my friend to buy a surfboard the other day. Ooh, I reckon it might have been Tyler, you know. Caleb/Tyler, if you're out there.
Tobias. Gets Tobes.
Caleb Tobias Toby.
Yes.
If you're out there listening, thank you for helping.
Was he just a passerby?
No.
Was he a wandering spirit?
He was completely ethereal.
Help, I am your surfing guardian angel, bro.
Oh, God. I'm going to make friends with those sorts of type.
Yeah, you're going to be hanging around with that crowd now.
Quite invested.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I took my friend, because this is something that just happens to me, and it's completely my own fault, but someone will be like, oh, here's a new activity that you could have a go at. I'm going to have a go at it. Do you want to come along? I'll be like, yeah, I'll have a go. And then I have one go, and then I've bought all of the equipment. Not going every night.
No way. Surfing, Warhammer,
Minecraft. Remember Minecraft when I did it rather than sleep?
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Oh, yeah, but the castle, David.
The castle on the
We had-
server.
we
On the server we don't play anymore.
Yeah, we again, give context. This is just for people who know us and play the game.
Oh, Christ,
We played a lot of Minecraft in early lockdown.
First lockdown.
Yeah, but when everyone did.
Yeah.
Put a lot of time and effort in, some more than others.
Yeah.
You and Matthew
We put in some graft.
and
Bethan
you
as
and
well.
Bethan sank in a lot of. It was just me. The free spirit was like, "You got any diamonds? You got netherite yet?
Got
I'll
any
rock
gems?
up." Yeah, 100%.
The Nether update came out.
Yeah, yeah,
while
sure.
we
The
still
Nether.
trying Minecraft.
So yeah, the Nether update came out, and then first part of. We had a bit of a break. Then we went back during the first part of Caves, and then we're having a break with Valheim at the minute.
That's very true.
Valheim's getting a lot of love. Just in time. I didn't even know there was the update coming out for, is it Hearth and Home?
I didn't. I had no idea.
No, not a clue. And then we're just like, right, we want to play new Valheim. So we've played a lot.
A lot.
Getting on Discord a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Just to play a lot of Valheim.
Well, Valheim is one of those games where, like, you look back and you're like, why did I stop playing this game?
I remember why.
Is it because we played far too much of it?
No, it's because the third boss.
Oh, Christ. That boss we
Because-
tried one night.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, it's, I forgive it because it's still quite an early game, but all of a sudden, like, the difficulty spike. You're like, excuse you, what?
The entire interface of that game trying to beat a boss that's quite difficult.
Oh yeah,
is
trying to swap.
unbelievable.
For somebody who doesn't play, like, WoW or FF14, to just get used to numbers on the row,
Yeah.
being like, okay, I have to find 8 because I need my bow and arrow now.
Yeah. And to be fair, when we tried it, was what, me, you, Matthew?
Yeah. Spud occasionally came on to give us a hand. And by a hand, he'd rock up with game-breaking stuff. Like, we have too much of this.
This is what you could have if you were good at the game.
Yeah,
Like,
if you sank in the time in like I did.
but why not?
But yeah, so a lot of Valheim's getting played at the minute.
Yeah. In a good, I reckon we're playing Valheim the same way that we did Minecraft in the early days, where it's like, right, let's all work together to build something. And I think that's why we really enjoyed Minecraft at the time. Even though I was like, I know this is your land, but I'm going to seize it. This is a lovely plot.
You're a conqueror.
Would be a shame if someone leveled it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of time spent on early Minecraft for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
But,
there
I mean, the
was.
castle is still, it's there.
It still exists. Well, for context, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks into the first lockdown, and that was at the peak of everyone had gotten over the idea of, oh, lockdown's quite fun. I can spend some time on my own, get some time in with myself,
Yeah.
possibly have a drink in a dressing gown.
And how dangerous that idea was. Look, imagine that. Be like, oh my god, being home by myself, just with my own thoughts.
Ooh.
I can't wait for that.
How easy! What a a mental spa that we can have.
2 years later, we're all spiraling out of control.
Not a single person isn't on 30s.
Oh, Sarah Lane, you came in with the clutch.
But yeah, it was at that time when I was like, I really need something to do. And no, I don't think any games were really jumping out. And I think it was Beth and Matty were like, get Minecraft. It's good crack.
Yeah.
And it was the whole meme of me starting to play it on a night and then looking over and being like, is that the fucking sun?
We'll talk about the games that took us through.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So from Minecraft, because we played a lot of that, then it was just, what do we do now? Netherite came out.
Netherite. We
got all that first day, and then it was because it was all of it, like 6 of us were on the same server, all looking for it. So we just.
It was the day after, because if you remember, it crashed Realms, the Netherite update, because everyone was playing Minecraft.
Yeah, so we
Realms.
all got Netherite, and we were like, cool, now what? And then a little game called Overwatch.
You may have heard of it.
Yeah.
They're from a team that did
Whoa.
a team that did such things as terrible things for their workforce.
We played that, and it was that was the point, because we'd all played Minecraft, but me, Bethan, no, it was just me and Bethan, who were mainly console.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the transition to, okay, we now have to get good at PC. and get. Because I'd never. I was always Xbox. I was always like, how can you find comfort on a keyboard? It's not meant to be played like this. Now, a year and a half later, picking up a controller, like, how?
This unreadable tome from the ages.
What is this? How am I? Why am I moving so slow? Why is any direction I look like a task? I want to look over there. So yeah, getting used to that.
An activity in itself. I remember when I first started playing, and like all I'd heard of is from like Matthew and my brother, because my brother was well into like PC gaming, and he was like, oh, the accuracy that you'll get from like shooter games, will be like, oh, I'm looking forward to that. Still hasn't happened.
No, I'm waiting.
You've seen me play McCree.
I'm waiting for because I know the train of thought of like, I should be shooting where he's about to go. I should be shooting. I'm not. No.
Yeah. So yeah, Minecraft and then Overwatch were good. A good time, but there was games in between that. We started the streams.
So it was Matthew playing Alice in Wonderland on Discord on a night where we just found that we weren't bothered about playing a game, but rather just hanging out.
That is the thing. It's a perfect excuse. I've had this conversation with so many people who don't get video games, and then being like, so you just watch someone play a game.
Yeah, you're like, you know how you watch football? Arsehole. I know that's the argument that everyone uses, but it's true. You're like, oh, but why don't you just play the game yourself? Why don't you go play tennis, dickhead? What are you on about?
Why tennis?
Because it's like, why watch tennis? Because I'm not going to go get a racket and a ball and find a court and put in a couple of sets. I'm going to watch tennis. The same, I'm not going to play competitive Overwatch, but I will watch the professionals do it. Especially
after having played professional competitive Overwatch. It's not happening.
It's not happening. We've talked about this before, about how a lot of the time, I think it's just from early gaming experience, I don't like competitive.
Okay, yeah.
I like competitive gaming, but to a point where on a night or during the day...
It's not relaxing.
No, it's... Multiplayer is fine if we have, like, payday.
Yeah.
The group objective is this thing.
Yeah.
We're not going against other people on it. It's just...
I think
it wears me down, and I don't have the temperament for online gaming.
It's us being salty that young people are better at video games than us, I reckon. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Back in the day, when I was putting in a genuine shift for Modern Warfare 2 on Xbox 360,
you get those prestiges in.
Could have done it any time. Any sleep schedule, I would have played it and had a good time. Nowadays, if I get absolutely pushed in on Overwatch, I'm like, no, I'm just going to play something else.
Because you're an adult and you don't have time for this. This is the issue. When you were a kid, you had time for the next round. If you win or lost, it was fine. Now, as a 20-something, you're just like, I pay bills. I'm not getting talked down to in the chat. It's not. But Spud, our friend Alex, is very much that way, and I get it. It's his thing. He loves being toxic. He loves going on Rust, Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah. Has he dabbled in PUBG? Because that's a really
imagine
good
he
one.
Has, yeah. But it's like the idea of losing... hello, Raymond. That was a nice shake. The idea of losing everything and starting again is like, that's a shitter, but I'll do it. That is like my night ruined. If I died in Minecraft, there was a few nights where I'm like, I'm going off now.
I remember, I killed you.
I've lost everything. But that's just because it's not anybody's fault. It's just my temperament. I'm just being like, fuck it.
I've been there in the awkward silence after a death.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had a night of killing each other, and then you were like, right, we're done. We'll play the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And I loosened an arrow at Bethan, and you got in the way and died. And there was 10 seconds of dead silence.
Oh yeah. God, I am an issue, aren't I?
No, but we're good at. I think that's why us watching the rest of us play streams work so well.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the...
It started with Alice and us being toxic at each other in a funny way. And I think that was probably what each of us really needed at the time where you couldn't leave the house and you couldn't see your mates. To be the equivalent of like watching them play a game and take the piss out of them for a night was so good.
Yeah, the ripping each other apart. It had been too long. Because that was it as a like back to the Modern Warfare 2 days. Ripping each other. Can you pick Ray up again? Is he again the loudest dog with every function? Just lick your paw silently. Just do it quiet, Ribbons. Don't side-eye me. Anyway, it was the going back to being toxic.
Just for a minute.
But like you're busting balls.
Yeah,
That it's
it
like
comes from a place of love.
yeah. It had been too long because it was the pub night was the standard.
That was it.
Yeah.
Jackbox games. On you remember lockdown quizzes? Let's all go back to there for a minute.
My.
Remember writing a 10-point quiz so that someone could forget to write a 10-point quiz, so you just do your quiz? That was it. That was a laugh, wasn't it?
What was that one?
That was me and my friends from Newcastle who also are in like the funk tone stuff.
That's right. I remember this now.
I'd be like,
Carry
I'm
on.
writing a 10-point quiz, and then they'd turn up and someone would be like, oh, I just forgot. It's like,
So what's the point?
for God's sake.
Did the friendship quiz where you had to write 10 things about yourself.
Yeah. So
I still have that on my laptop.
Yeah, I think I've still got the piece of paper. Yeah, so we had the friendship quiz where we quizzed each other about us. Very narcissistic, just like
100%.
me for a little bit, but it was fine. There were all the quizzes, but everyone again. I skirted around the family quizzes. I don't know about you.
No, I couldn't escape it. I think we did 2. They're fine.
Yeah,
They're good to see people, but the quiz was meh.
yeah. Well, it's just going to be like
That's all it's ever going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be trivia.
100%. Like if you try and go niche, what niche am I going to do that a family's going to be able to pick up on?
What does your 55-year-old auntie?
Yeah, I'm going to do a very in-depth deep dive on the Metal Gear Solid universe. I hope you've been living up on your Foxhound.
They're called
Grandma.
diamond dogs.
There's Fox and there's XOF. Jesus, Grandma, get it in your head. We didn't do our sponsor.
No,
That wasn't
Okay.
that wasn't the break. There was no break. It's fine. We're back.
Break.
What? So we're talking about streams.
The ones in the lakes.
Yes. Dickhead. Talking about so we're talking about Alice. Matty played that. That was the first big stream.
That was fantastic. That was they're thinking about bringing out the third one.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that'll be good.
So that'll be another one to add to it. Even though we'll probably be all out of
100%. Yeah.
lockdown. Yeah. I imagine this will go swimmingly. It'll be fine. After Alice, that kind of opened up streaming for everything, and then we started doing horror games.
It was.
Which was you.
Well, no, it started with Matthew, didn't it? Because he wanted to do 2 games. It was Amnesia he played, which he hated.
I don't know why Matthew picked like for him to do it because he's.
Well, did he play like a small horror game at the start? And we were like, oh, this is hilarious because Matthew is petrified of horror games. We've got to do this at least 10 more times. No idea what it was, but it moved.
Alice gets spooky.
Alice does get spooky.
Yeah.
It must have been that, and then we
Yeah.
moved on to that because he definitely had a scary time of it, and that's what I think we enjoyed the most. Just watching someone who is not comfortable in horror games, and it's the exact thing of he would have the slightest spook would happen and would just see the pause menu.
Yeah. You'd hit escape.
Hit
sit in the
escape.
escape menu for an
As long-
extended period of time.
As long as you could take us berating him for being in the escape menu, and then you would get back to the scares.
And then after it was Amnesia, got through that, and then it was Outlast where you just called it, wasn't it? Yeah.
He got 10 minutes into Outlast.
Understandable though.
It was basically the first time the game was like, by the way, there's this feature which lets you look behind you, and he was like, all right, let's see how it goes. Something kicked the door in, and he was like, we'll end it there, boys.
Yeah, that's enough for me. And then you took the reins?
And I took the reins. Well, to be fair, the game that I picked up on was Resident Evil. There was 2, yeah, because it was the remaster, and I played the hell out of 2. That was a cracking game.
That was well timed.
But at the same time, I didn't stream Resi 2. It sounded like I did, and I kind of did, but I only streamed the ending, and I think it was only Bethan that watched it, and I think she was doing work at the time.
It was like midnight.
Yeah.
And something was due in.
Uh-huh.
You didn't have a desk, so you weren't on.
Right.
Matthew had gone off.
Yeah.
Ryan had gone off. And there's just me and David. He's playing a game. I'm doing work, and he goes, "Oh, got him."
That's the quality content that I was producing at the time.
Oh, yeah, it was early days.
It was early days.
It's what we'll say about this.
Yeah. Well,
no, actually, no. What I'll say. This is perfect content.
This is
Don't
peak.
talk. Yeah, I'm not talking myself down. This is brilliant.
But yeah, it was Resi 2, and that's a great game. I would happily go back and play that again because it is a fantastic game. And then Resi 3, I didn't really play because it's not fantastic for streaming. And I think it was that point. I think was it Matthew and Bethan and you were like, you should play through 7 because that's a bit more spooky. It's first person. It'll be a good laugh. And I played through all of 7, and that was really fun.
Who would have thought, these YouTubers, the Mr. Mark, horror games.
God, someone should tell them.
Yeah,
someone definitely should.
We should tell them that 2016 has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Resi, and then that was the preceding week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it. 7, played through all of 7, and then Village came out.
Yes.
Yeah. And played through Village.
And I think we were all bitterly disappointed by Village. Because it starts so well. I liked
the
third. Heisenberg stuff.
Yeah.
It was longer than a lot of... It was like the opening mansion with the lady of the house. Yeah, I can remember that. That was a long period.
Yeah.
But it was like... But spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, massive spoilers for it. Not any points of the game, just that it's bad. If you buy the game, stop a third of the way in.
You're trying to say that Ethan Winters isn't the most likeable Resi character. That'll show you with his one-liners. Oh, just right. I understand that they're going for a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something charming about the cringy things Leon would say, and Ethan's just too pathetic to have the...
Mm-hmm. I think they were going for what would a normal human being say in this scenario, and they picked the most basic thing that could possibly be said and be like, yeah, that's what Ethan would say. And you compare that to Leon in Resi 4, where I think I've told you about the scene in Resi 4 when everyone he's having a massive firefight with a load of zombies, and then suddenly all bell tolls and they all run away, and he goes, "Where is everyone going? Bingo." And then smash cut to Ethan Winters getting his hand cut off, and he's like, "Damn, fuck you."
I'll get you bitch. Shut up,
Ethan.
Ethan, shut up.
Christ's sake, move faster, you idiot.
Yeah, for going from Leon to Ethan, it's a bit of a... And I get it, they were going to reinvent it.
Mm-hmm. Which they did.
I think it's... Who develops it? I can't remember the name.
Hello, Religion.
Hello? Tobias?
You there?
Yeah.
Was that it? Tobuscus? But yeah, while we find out who develops it, the company started... They write it in...
Capcom,
yeah,
of course
obviously.
it's Capcom.
They write it in Japanese, obviously.
Yeah.
But write it in Japanese in the style of 80s American sitcoms, almost.
Yeah,
they write it in a way where it's like, how would an American sound in this situation? We've got it. And then they write it in Japanese, and then it has to be translated over. And then we get Ethan Winters being like, "Die, bitch." I love it because but you can't be having the same campiness of the classic Resident Evil games
when it's a first person horror.
When you're trying to be taken seriously as an Amnesia Last of Us type, and you just have your main character's hand cut off, and it doesn't get explained till the end of the spoilers. Ethan's made of mold. This man that you didn't care about. Fungus. Yeah. But, right, if we're talking about spoilers for this game, we will get back on track at some point, I imagine, but this is the new Iron Man 3 at this point.
Love it.
Why did he decide, at the end, to stay?
There was no point. That was the stupidest point of the game. It was at that point that I was like, all right, they've completely just been unrealistic with everything. So they've just been like, at some point in an 80s movie, someone would just be like, well, I'll be the patsy and die for no reason. And it's like
self-sacrifice. Yeah. Yes.
And that was crap.
I think they'd probably made half of the game.
Yeah.
Got a fish boy and went, we'll just do Resident Evil 4 again.
Yeah.
But this time without a boat and without a harpoon.
There was a little bit of a boat.
There was.
And it was I was looking forward to it in the trailer because it had them going through a thing in a boat, like Resi 4, and a fish goes over, and you're like, ooh, a big lake possibly in a nice location. No,
it's just a boy who walks around some houses and spits, and there's that massive thing with Heisenberg in his factory with all the guys with drills. Yeah. Which I like. Didn't fit. It doesn't fit. But if they did their own thing, like if they just did a whole, side thing with Heisenberg's factory.
Yes.
Spot on. Because there was so many. Like when you're walking about, you saw the Duke on the elevator going up and down. You looked out and you saw all these guys with the drills on their hands. You're like, why am I fighting hundreds of these?
Yes.
Why isn't there occasionally the one that pops out of the thing just to give me a cheap jump scare?
100%.
I'm getting mad now because it did so well because the whole dollhouse.
Well, that's the thing.
Fucking terrifying.
I feel like it was a game designed in two parts, and the first part is the mansion and the dollhouse, and they are everything that Capcom has learnt from other horror games, being like, this is how you make tension, this is how you make good characters, this is how you make believable enemies as well, and lots of tension in like just an area. Because I'll come to it in a second, but the dollhouse, not a lot happens in the dollhouse, but you are scared for the entire part of it, right? And then the second half was, they may not have had time, but it felt like, right, the second half is just everything that we've done in old games. So you've got a big boss fight arena for the fish, lots of open areas that don't have a lot in it, and then for Heisenberg, we've got shoot the glowy bits, and that's it.
Yeah, because you run through the factory, and it was all the mechanical parts we had to shoot to stop the cranks, and then and it was like, we've taught you this by playing our level.
Yeah.
When you fight Heisenberg, you'll shoot these glowy bits. You're like, no fucking way. How unique. Wait a minute. Are you telling me, Capcom, that you've put glowy parts on an enemy and those are his weak points? I don't believe it.
Someone wrote it down. Good lord.
Because then it was you were defenseless for the entire game. You ran out of ammunition, and all of a sudden you had a mech suit. And you're like, oh, fuck off.
No, not a mech suit. A tank.
Oh yeah,
you had the makeshift lawnmower tank that had rockets on it.
No, but it was made out of a special polymer, so Heisenberg couldn't manipulate it,
including the bullets.
Capcom, fuck off.
Do you know the best bit?
You were doing so well.
He's like, oh, he can't control it because it's made out of a polymer, whatever he says, and then at the end you're flying, like he's controlling it.
No,
it's in the whirlpool.
No, he was making the big tornado with the fan on his back. Oh. Do you remember that big part? And then Ethan conveniently flies against the tractor with the minigun on it. And
Ethan's small powers included parachute. He turned into a flying squirrel.
Yeah, so he's been riddled with debris. He's wiggled his way over in the cyclone. He gets the turret again, with the left arm being the chainsaw that I'm sure everybody used.
Of course.
And then shoots a grenade. Because you've spent the entire game looking for ammo, crafting it, making sure you can survive, and they've went, this boss is nothing.
This is an open arena.
This guy that can manipulate metal is just the same boss from before, but for just in an arena. Cool, man.
Yeah.
It could have been anything.
It could have been a million times better for a boss that had so much potential. Where it did the good boss thing.
He's Magneto.
This is a baddie that you're going to see well before you fight him, and well before his area. You're going to know him. You're going to know his powers. So you're going to be sort of dreading the fight and wondering what they're going to do with it, because at every point that you've met him, he's basically a flick of his fingers could have killed you at any point in the game, and you're like, oh my god, this guy is overpowered. He literally just stuck me together with metal at one point so he could transport us. That's how powerful he is. And then it's like, the boss fight with him is he becomes a big metal monster and you shoot him. Cool. Right. Okay then.
Yeah, so the same last 3 bosses then. Oh, the doll was unique.
The doll was definitely unique.
Because the doll was like get through the house, which fit, by the way.
It definitely
the aesthetic.
Did.
The little creepy house, the little shack out off in
100%. Let's talk about that area. Let's push right into it.
So you went from
the castle, Castle Dimitrescu.
Yeah, and then you walk and you've like, oh, that's her dead. That's the big woman dead now. That was
roll credits.
That was unexpected and disappointing, because you're like, no, she's gonna rock back up again.
Yeah, they made such a big deal about her.
She can't just turn to ash. No, that's it. I thought she was going to be like a nemesis. I
think a lot of people did think that.
And then she was for a little bit, and then she wasn't, and then she was dead. And then there was the dollhouse. And I don't think anybody saw that one coming.
Nope.
Absolutely not. The baby.
So you
let's go.
You enter this shack that's on the side of a mountain, next to a waterfall. Very picturesque. Lovely place. It is dark and you enter it, and there's something very eerie as you go in, because as soon as you enter, it's like an empty house. And whenever you've gone into any location, as soon as you've opened a door, something's popped out and said a noise, and you're like, right, I'll shoot it in the head. And from the get-go, it's just spooky noises.
For a game that, like, the first 2 hours, when you're running about the village, just trying to get bits, and there's lichens everywhere, and you're getting rushed.
Yep.
And there's a big guy with a hammer, and there's bow and arrows, and all of a sudden, there's nothing.
Yep.
And you're like, they've done it. They've made it scary.
10 out of 10, best game.
Incredible. You had to manipulate a mannequin to get the clues. There was the best part about that entire area was how many places there were to hide before you even knew. So you're like, something's going to happen at any second.
Yeah. You would gain access to a room and it would have a hiding spot, and you're like, right, something's going to come. I'm going to get in that hiding spot and wait. And because the sound design in that game is really good.
It's really good.
The sound design did a really good job of, you would enter the room, there'd be a little noise, and you'd be like, right, this is the point. It's finally happening where I need to hide, and you hide in something, and nothing would happen, but there'd be little noises, and you think, I'll just keep on waiting. Like, I'll just wait until something happens or something doesn't. Yeah. And then you come out and you're like, okay then.
Yeah, there's nothing yet.
Maybe a secondary jump scare's coming, and you move on. You do a lot of scary puzzles.
You do.
Every single point where you've done a puzzle, there's a little noise, and you're like, this is horrible. The lighting is terrifying. And then suddenly you finish the puzzle. You go back to the mannequin. And then you hear a voice on the radio, and then all of the lights turn off and all of the doors open, and you're like, oh, that wasn't the scary bit. Yeah. I remember seeing the big bad.
It's the point where you have to go down the lift to go get the fuse.
Well, you see it before then, because you see it on the way to the lift. The doors open because you get the fuse to go into the lift to go down and do something.
Right.
No, you get the fuse to the lift, and then the power cuts. So you go to the lift, you use the lift to go down, reset the fuse, and then go back up, and then you can escape.
Yeah. But what's the part where you go under the bed? That's
when you're really doing it. So the doors open.
We're just telling the game.
The doors open. You've completed the puzzle bit, and everything goes dark, and you're like, right, I know I need to get back to the lift. Suddenly everything's open. The mannequin's gone. There's blood on the floor. Oh dear.
An important part about this whole thing, as soon as you walk through and get to the table in the middle of the house where there is a mannequin, and it goes black, and you wake, and it goes back to being light, you've lost everything.
Yeah, no weapons.
No weapons, no
healing items.
No, it's like there's one enemy in this area, and it is the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Can you imagine if you saw the baby and it had that audio clip? But you turn a corner on the way to the thing, and suddenly there's a giant fetus, insanely loud.
Yeah, I've recently watched somebody play through it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's this part.
It's coming up.
It's the part with the big red fetus, which they don't. I think it's just probably it's the same one that they used in PT.
Yeah.
And we're like, we'll take that asset.
We'll take it. Make it bigger.
Well, I mean, he's not doing it anymore. He's not making.
You remember fetus from PT? Yeah. This is him now. Feel old yet?
It was a Kojima, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not used anymore. Just import that asset. We'll use
Makes
that.
Sense.
And then you hear the crying.
Oh.
And I was re-watching it and just being, I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's coming. And there it was. And I'm sat next to Beth being like, remember this part? And she's like, oh God.
Yeah. I re-watched, because I'm a big Outside Xbox and Extra fan, as you guys know, because I won't shut up about them. And I watched them play through it once I'd played through it, and I knew it was coming. And they're a very PC, family friendly channel. Yeah. So I was waiting for this to come, and I was like, the editing and self-preservation of not being like, I think Andy genuinely screams when it comes round the corner, and we did. I remember.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, this thing comes around the corner and it's genuinely terrifying, and I need to get round it, and all of the spaces that they gave me to hide in are now useful.
Yeah.
Get in.
So you get through all of this, and then you've got a boss fight which is mediocre.
Yeah. You're happy to be out of that at that point. Yeah, it's definitely unique.
But it's not challenging, it's just timed.
Well, because the boss of that area is a doll and an operator of a doll.
Yeah, because you had the whole things with the Kadoos.
Yes.
Which were the... Okay,
are we getting into the Resi lore?
We're getting a Resi lore, because it starts off with the progenitor virus, which is from the plant.
Yeah.
Which is all Resi 5. Yes. And now with
we've had plants, we've had viruses made by the corporation, we've had leeches. Then the
Umbrella still really hasn't made a comeback in the new ones yet. There's been references. There's definitely on the Plinth in Village.
Yeah.
There was a similar Umbrella logo, but there's never been explicit. You know how in Resi 2 and 3 there was the scientists who were injecting.
You go into the science department.
Apart from Chris
at the end of 7.
Yeah. But now it's mold. And Kadoos, which are
little mold fetuses.
Yeah. That just take over the horse, which is basically what the 4 children are, which are the 4 bosses.
Yeah.
But then you're
it's fine.
It was. In the first, it was explicit. These are zombies. These are doing this, and I get what they're going for. They're changing it, but it's still Resi. It's still Resi.
Yes.
If you're gonna go down such a different path, rebrand. But that's not gonna sell.
No, it won't. Well, that was the whole thing of when people saw that there were werewolves in it. People were like, "What is Resi doing?"
Yeah.
Because it was werewolves and vampires. What?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell do you think you're doing, Capcom? And then it was it's kind of the same-ish, but not. But they've sort of rebranded so many times in a way of not necessarily where things have come from, but also how it's been set. It was a first-person shooter basically for the one. I can't remember which one it was. Where you play as 3 different characters, and one of them's just a machine gunner. The other one's
no idea.
Exactly. Yeah. No one played it because it was garbage. But yeah, they've rebranded so many times that at this point where they're it's got werewolves, and you're that's weird, but fine.
How does Resident Evil
Are you looking at my notes?
I'm trying to.
Are you
find,
cheating?
I'm swan necking. I'm trying to correlate with some of our talking points because I feel like we're getting into gatekeeping.
Do you feel like we've talked for 2 hours and we're trying to like retcon the 4 bullet points that we had into what we've been talking about? Yeah. Well, gatekeeping. I could do some. I'm always game for some gatekeeping.
We might as well. We've been talking about Resident Evil for quite some time, and
if
I feel
you've got
like
a particular topic that you want to gatekeep.
I can gatekeep. What do you want? Because I know I shouldn't.
Okay.
But I hear people talk about certain subjects, and you can't help but look down and be like, "You know nothing. You're foolish to assume,
peasant."
You plebeian.
While you were
idiot.
out talking to girls, I was mastering the blade.
It's not anime. Don't gatekeep anime. Right, so gatekeeping. So what have I wrote?
Pick a topic. I reckon this could be a very regular.
I'm up for gate. Yeah, I'm up for right. So what I've got is gatekeeping, and what do you gatekeep?
Yeah. Okay.
And are you willing to die on that hill?
Always.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a few where I'm like, I'll listen to people talk, and I'm just, you're wrong. You're wrong. You are wrong.
You mansplaining over there.
Yeah, I will happily mansplain.
Listener, you can't see, but Niall is spread his legs to
assert dominance.
He's currently doing the split.
Bethan's obviously feeling very intimidated.
Bethan, I am. I'm holding raid.
Have you got anything you like gatekeep?
Yes, 100%. I'm wondering which way to go, because I've talked about video games a lot, but when I wrote that down, I was thinking about, because on the way here, it's like a 20-minute to half an hour drive.
Yeah.
And since lockdown, I've noticed a lot more idiots on the road.
Ooh, that's fun. I could talk about that all day.
2 white men discuss driving on UK roads. Quality.
It's like a normal road, but we have roundabouts.
Well, there's something that when you speak to someone and they find out that you're into cars, and then they talk to you about cars, and it's fun, but like there's a certain aspect. Okay, I'm going to narrow in because that's such a broad topic. We'll start small.
Yeah, because we'll just say we are both fans of cars. So we talk about
You're
cars.
You're a fan of cars? Name every car, Niall.
Cars 1 and Cars 2.
There's a third one, you idiot.
God,
get out.
Fake
get
fan.
out.
Is there a third one?
Yeah, there's a third one.
Is there?
Bethan.
Oh my. Are we gatekeeping?
Tiberius.
I thought the third one was planes.
There's a Cars
No one's
one,
Ratatouille.
Cars 2, isn't there? And then there's a Cars 3.
I think
There's one with James Bond, but he's a car.
That's Cars 2?
Yeah.
Is
But
it?
there's 3.
1, 2, and 3.
When did that happen?
Anyway, a topic, like a very particular topic that I'll start on because it's so broad, right? Okay. Car manufacturers produce a car, and then once they've produced a car, they're like, right, well, we'll offer this car with a multitude of variation in engine size, particular like features on the outside and inside, little perks like sat-nav, stuff like that. And then
Drop Bluetooth.
Little Bluetooth. And we could go into the big old lore of why a lot of people think this has happened. And if we want to touch upon it, I'm more than happy to.
It's like Lord of the Rings.
But car manufacturers eventually realised an idiot will pay a lot more money for a car that does nothing more but has an M performance badge on it. So you will pay an extra certain amount of £1,000 for your diesel Beamer to have an M performance badge and nothing else on it. It's got a body kit, so people think you're driving the big bad.
Yeah, but when you drive past them, it sounds like somebody's going to their work. Like
nice tractor,
in a tractor or their nice big Transit.
Yeah,
putting a diesel engine in quotes a luxury car.
Yes, this is a big
crime.
problem.
Yeah. Don't do it. I don't care if you're doing distances. It's a crime.
Your
Stop
luxury
buying
Audi brand. If I'm buying a big... I'm not in the first place because I'm not going to. But if I was buying a ship of a car, an A5, and I was like, okay, this is a luxury brand. If you... what is the point in having a luxury brand if the thing powering it is a diesel engine? And a lot of people are like, diesel engines are fantastic engines. They are great engines. They are fine for what they're doing.
For trains.
They're fine for trains, trucks, and vans, right? But when you're building something that is a prestige item...
But your 9 to 5 at Barclays doesn't need your 1.9 diesel rocking about the motorway.
Yeah.
It doesn't need it.
The thing is, diesel are fine, but at the same time, it allows manufacturers to be like, well, why don't we just mass produce diesel engines? Mm-hmm. And then when you come to look for a petrol engine, we'll just mark up the price massively.
Yeah. What we'll do is, as a car manufacturer, we'll make a bunch of diesel, we'll send it to lower emission grade countries, we'll sell all of them there,
mm-hmm.
We'll get a few through into the European market with a bunch of the petrol, so it takes our emission costs nice
mm-hmm.
and down. We'll make a nice hybrid, but we'll still pump out all the diesels. And guess what? Not all of them go overseas. Shocking, I know, but car manufacturers, companies haven't got your best interest in mind.
Yeah.
Shocking, I know. But yes, when you're buying your... That's another thing I can gatekeep about cars. In quote, luxury cars. We'll get back to the diesel engine, but just something to add into it.
Yeah.
When did Audi, Mercedes and BMW get appointed to be luxury cars? Who give them the fucking right to be like, that's it, we're now the top boys. If you've got a nice little, telephone job where you're pushing keys and you're making at least 30 grand a year, you're probably getting a luxury one of these.
Mm-hmm. You're probably driving an A1. Mm-hmm. That's the entry level.
Yeah.
And it costs more than any other car of that sort of entry level.
Guess what? Your A1, it's nothing.
Your A1 is a Polo, sir.
Yep.
But I think it's something that will never change because a manufacturer knows that someone's going to pay more for an M Performance badge on a BMW or an S-Line Audi.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to be like, oh, I've got the S-Line, as if that's in any way better.
Mm-hmm.
It might be an inch lower, which I'm sure you're going to really feel on the A1. I'm sure when you're going 50 miles an hour on the A1 overtaking a Vauxhall, you're going to be like, oh yeah, my dick is massive. Right? In your turbo diesel.
The roar. The roar of the mighty diesel.
The roar of the diesel. And yeah, but something that is very sad that will never change is the reason M badges were made, the reason that S badges were made, the reason that Type R badges were made was because you had the base model car and then a car manufacturer put those cars into actual races and we're like, right, because of homologation rules, we're going to have to make a separate car model depending on the race and it's going to have certain specs that are massive. And for that to happen, it's going to be much lighter, much faster, and much lower. And people were like, ooh, the car I love, the R32, the Type R.
Yeah.
All of those, right? And that is like such a point and so sought after that it was, right, this car is built for speed, built for racing. That is cool, and I like cars, and that's why I'm happy to invest so much more money into it. And then it gets to a point now where if you get an M5... It's got a really decent engine, it's got decent like suspension and stuff, some upgrades like that, but that's not true to like the M badges back in the day when they were making race cars, where it's not a race car because it's got sat-nav, it's got heated seats. You are not buying a race car, you are buying a car that's slightly faster, much faster, but because it's got a badge on it that used to mean something.
A luxury car.
A luxury car. Like the Type R, if you were to do something where the Type R was new today for Honda, where you could say, right, you're going to buy a Civic or you're going to spend more money and get a Civic that weighs a lot less, and because it weighs a lot less, the interior has nothing in it, no one's going to buy it.
Here's the thing.
That's so sad.
If the Civic came out, it didn't have any of the previous marks. It came out now, looking the way it does, like a Transformers turd, and over-engineered. Do you think it would sell? Or do you think it would just be one of those, I'll buy one, like a Leon?
Okay, all
like,
right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
you
right.
could get this in Ibiza, but I'm going to go...
If Honda brought it out now.
Yeah.
Because I know near nothing about... Oh, no, to be fair. So, that Type R set a load of records for front-wheel drive cars around the Nürburgring, along with the Cupra.
Isn't that another thing that a company can claim? If it does a lap round the ring, it's like, oh, it's tested and performed on there.
Interesting fact. So, part of the reason the Civic... Was it the Civic and the Type R of the NSX were allowed to go ahead was because the head of Honda at the time in the racing division were given a goal of, you can make the Type R version of it if it can beat the R32 Skyline around a certain track. And that was sort of like, that's such a like film thing to say. It's like, you can make the car if it beats this car in a race. Can you imagine? Imagine that nowadays.
Fast and Furious.
But it spoiler, it didn't. The Skyline beat it by a second, I think, because I had 4-wheel drive. But for Honda to do it, it meant that Honda had to create oversteer in a front-wheel drive car.
Right.
Wild. For that to happen, absolutely wild. But I had a point, and I've already lost it. It's gone.
No, we're talking about.
So I'm walking down the street.
Yes.
And I'm having a conversation just with random strangers, as I do.
As you do during these COVID times.
Yes, no mask. And I get complaints that my peas are too aggressive. And I was just always on the market for a portable pop filter.
Oh, you want a pop filter?
Yeah.
Ah, well, luckily for you, David, I've got one just with me.
No way.
Yes, it's a damp sock.
We got the damp sock sponsorship.
You wouldn't believe it.
That's big money.
It is big money, and I'm not giving you any of it because these are my damp socks.
Excellent. How does it work?
Special. You put it on your mic, and if it's just the right amount of dampness, it won't break the mic, but get rid of all the aggressive peas.
But Niall, I'm always on the go. How do I stop my peas?
Your peas on the go.
Yeah.
Trainer socks. They're smaller they're smaller than normal socks for handy pocket. That was the ad spot. We're back. We're gonna wrap up gatekeeping because I feel like if we carry on, we're gonna just carry it top out it for another hour, and it is getting late.
Yes. This is not what Wet Sock pays us to do.
No, Red Sock?
Damps. Oh, God. Will we lose a sponsorship?
You've went for the competitor?
We've been sponsored by two different competing socks.
You've got to put
one's
them on.
Left foot, one's right foot.
One's considerably more uncomfortable than the other. We're up gatekeeping.
They were once a member of a proud family of socks. One went one way, one the other.
One believed in a drier life, the other the wetter. They've never been the same. Brothers,
lost to the ages.
We're gatekeeping. We're wrapping up gatekeeping.
Families lost to time. Two warring families, Montague and Capulet.
I bite my thumb at you. I bite my sock at you, sir. I bite my toe at you.
Anyway, we'll wrap up gatekeeping.
Anyway, some people have shitty opinions about cars, and we have even shittier ones.
We're one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you drive an M Sport BMW, it's not a sports car. Calm the hell down. Get out of my anus.
I feel like this is directed at somebody.
It's directed at the person who was in my anus on the drive here. your little BMW 116D.
Yeah. It's the entry level BMW.
Oh. Yeah.
I can have one little thing for gatekeeping that I wanted to add.
Yeah.
People. Sorry, the dog just coughed. People who are too attached to kids' films.
Ooh, interesting.
I can gatekeep kids' films.
That sounds bad.
It does. It sounds very dodgy, but I'm doing it.
Which gate? School gate? Are you school gate?
My own private gate.
The gate outside.
Yeah.
Where you yell about kids' films.
Angry man shouts.
Angry man shouts at cloud.
Yeah, but like it's more so. I don't mind kids' films, but they also don't get a free pass for being shit just because they're kids' films. But that that isn't the thing I'm gatekeeping. It's the fans.
Okay.
If you know everything to do with the Disney movie, I don't care. If you have a Harry Potter tattoo, I think less of you.
Interesting. Okay.
If you have an obsession with Marvel movies, grow up.
Oof.
Oh, I know. How could I be? Why are you booing me? I'm right. It's like, if we all like superheroes, it's kind of the thing. You look, it's that kid that you look up to.
Yeah.
It's something bigger than you.
Yes.
But, Susan, you 40-year-old checkout cashier at Asda.
Oh, don't call out Susan like that.
No.
That's a good lass.
I'm going to have words. She didn't buy the damn sock.
Susan Tiberius. That's for GDPR reasons.
If you have an obsession with Tony Stark and you don't call him Robert Downey Jr.
Our friend Robert. Carry on.
Fucking grow up. It's just, I don't know, it's the...
There's nothing wrong with having an interest.
No, not at all.
But it has been... I think it's because people see it as a norm to blow it out of proportion. Like, I think Harry Potter gets a lot of well, at least it did until all the crap.
Don't get us wrong. Harry Potter is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
The books aren't written very well.
No, but it's a strong story.
It's a very strong story.
But
if you base your life around Harry Potter...
Yeah, if you are a 30-something and you still put things on Facebook saying, I'm waiting for my still waiting for me letter. Oh, you are a leech on society. But it's the people who like...
Oh, yeah.
Who was it? I think it was Eddie Burback or maybe Gus that did a video recently on people who, or Drew, or who...
it might be one man, yeah.
Who did... People who spend that, like, life savings on going to Disneyland, getting an apartment there, everything being Disney, and I can't think of anything worse.
Yes. But here... Yeah. I know what you mean. I think it's because it's so overhyped and if you're like a super diehard fan, which there are a lot of them, there's so much that you can show it in other people's faces, and I think that's the problem.
Liking Disney doesn't make up for your lack of personality.
God, don't hit Susan like that.
I know, right?
Jesus.
But just because it was part of your childhood, it was all part of it. We all have seen a Disney movie at least once. One of them. We've seen it in passing, no matter what, we've seen one. Guess what?
Some are great films.
Yeah, but they all follow the same formula. Don't expect... I know it's a kids' movie, and it's not for me. But when I've got somebody who's twice my age ranting about Disney, it's not for them either. If you're blasting out Let It Go with your daughter or your son, and just singing along, that's fine. But if you're dressing up with them and being part of it and thinking it's all about you as well, oh dear.
I think you've struck a chord with
it's
Frozen.
Fine. Yeah,
because Frozen was one where it was like a lot of older people were like, oh, well, I can be a kid again.
I've heard the songs on the radio.
Yeah.
So that means I'm involved too.
Yeah.
It's the Facebook mentality, I would say.
Yeah, it was at the time where there was a big hype for people of that age to be on Facebook talking about how fantastic the thing that they like is. Mm-hmm. And for it to be so easily accessible to the people who do not care. Yes.
How you can just spout shit you can just... It's Facebook. Facebook's less so. It's definitely more Twitter, but Facebook is the safe ground for.
It's an easy platform for anyone to say.
Yes, I would say it's for an older demographic.
Yes.
Where Twitter's definitely for a younger, more internet savvy person. Twitter's easy for celebrity. You can follow a bunch of celebrities, and that can be it.
I am yet to have Twitter because I don't want to be in any way, shape, or form involved.
This is the issue. So with Twitter, it's just people shouting into the ether, expecting a response, and when they get a response, they're disgusted by that thought. They'd be like, okay. How dare you think otherwise? How dare you have a different opinion? They will dox you. Like it's fine on a surface level. You go into Twitter and you follow a bunch of celebrities and go, I wonder what Stephen Fry's up to, and it's all that. Well, that was when I signed up. Now you go into my Twitter feed, it's no longer just a bunch of celebrities. It's all these very niche internet creators who are just fighting amongst themselves. Then you've got also their communities joining in and shouting back. It's just a cesspit of people shouting at each other and nobody listening.
Okay, I see.
Where Facebook is just well, I've done this, and I'm sure everybody else would love to see that I've done this.
Yeah.
And then Frozen, and because everybody was seeing or singing Frozen, that took off for a while.
I think. Because I don't have a huge issue with it. I think, well, I don't really get on board with it, but I think it's also the issue of, like, you've already said it and hit the nail on the head of, it's not for you, it is for kids. And it feels sort of, like, disingenuous for like, grown adults to be like, there's this thing that's meant for kids and my kids love it. I'm going to piggyback off it because...
I'm living through my kids. But it's the same way that you can say, well, Star Wars isn't for me. That's for kids, and everybody had an opinion about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like it can be a bad kids film.
Yes.
They don't get a free pass because they're forget. It's like there's some TV. There is bad kids TV.
There is. If you want to. So Gus Johnson did his, I think it was 2 parts or 3 parts on Guava. Was it Guava? Right. Have you seen those?
No.
They're all on YouTube, and it's basically like, so kids TV, it has to be regulated. But kids TV on YouTube does not have to be regulated.
No.
And it can be all ads, and it's really, really toxic because kids don't know that they're ads. Well, some of they might, but even then, it's not okay to advertise to children.
No.
It's just not.
No.
And Guava's one where it's like the most basic, toxic, terrible popcorn of like just clickbait content that gets billions of views.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of like, it's meant for kids, but that doesn't mean it's good. And because it's easy for someone to get involved at an early age of just watching media, it's very easy for something to just have lots of content that's crap that people will be like, I'll stick it in for the kids. But then, I think there's fewer terrible Disney movies. But yeah, YouTube has got to sort itself out in that thing. And yeah, Gus has done at least 2 points on stuff like that. And I think Eddie has as well. Yeah.
Well, it's for... There was that thing a little while back with all the Spider-Man and Elsa shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's another... meant for kids. However...
the internet happened.
Yeah, big horny... Like, YouTube isn't regulated.
Yes. Well,
it's regulated in the wrong places.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is quite happy for this single parent or... It doesn't have to be single. It's just any like child who has been brought up with the iPad that is now latched on TikTok and YouTube.
Quick content.
Yes. So for YouTube to then be like, yeah, because that makes us money, we're just going to keep on slamming that and we won't talk about it that much. But those big guys who were saying, naughty words on the trending page, we'll take those ads away.
Take those away. Jesus, demonetize them. What? Yeah. You sang one line of a song? I do not think so.
Terrible.
Meanwhile, these are just going to advertise games to kids. Fine. Okay, right. Cool.
And like how... Because we can go down a deep dive on how shit YouTube is.
This is... yeah, I think we could.
But that's a different.
That is a big. It's similar sort of thing of all of media is exactly what you make of it, but you have to be aware that it's everything that you make of it. So my YouTube is 100% my subscribed stuff.
Yeah.
I'd never stray from that because I've found this content, I really like it. If something similar pops up, I'll look at it, but I'll watch one video and then I'll come back. So everything that I see is within a very confined space, very broad, very confined space of the things that I like. Similar with Instagram, where it's like my For You page is the stuff that I like because it's the stuff that I've looked at, which is just cars and architecture and stuff like that. Whereas for anyone who's like, what's on YouTube today? What's on such and such today? It is a cesspool of anything that's trending, which is real bad. And it's very easy for all the weird stuff that's not got good intentions to just be in someone's face, especially kids.
I feel like if we were giving each other's YouTube accounts, we'd have a fucking nightmare. Yours, I imagine, is so like, okay, I have watched this video, that is enough for me today. Like, I am happy with that content. Mine is just spiraling, like, this person said this. Have you watched this compilation? Philly D's doing, and it's like, my homepage is very little of my subscriptions because I subscribe to that many accounts that don't upload. Yeah. And that's one of the big... I don't like often content. I like good content. However, I also like a lot of content. So that makes me just end up being like,
I like quality and quantity. Why can't they keep up?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't you upload a 40-minute video every day? Count Dankula. Piece of shit. Well, it's like, my homepage is, as I say, it's a lot of external people talking about the content creators I like.
Oh, okay.
Or it's a compilation from another person.
Yeah.
Because I watch a lot of gaming. It's a compilation from somebody else being like, this person's topped it, like, these moments. So I feel like giving our each...
This is how pure I am. I haven't watched a compilation video on YouTube.
Ever.
Because it means, even if it's like top 10 Andy Ferrantula moments on a video game, if it's not his channel, I'm not watching it. I could just watch all of his videos again, and I will.
But it's the best bits.
If I want to watch the best bits of Smosh, I'll just watch Smosh again. I've done it before. Gatekeeper.
Yeah, that's fair. That
Big
is,
old gatekeeper.
Okay, we'll rock with this. So it's gatekeeping big ones. Do you gatekeep YouTube?
Yeah. No.
Are you a purist?
I'm a full
Do you make sure to like most videos? Or do you do what I do? Where it's just like, my liked videos are an archive of these are some good shit.
Okay.
Or it's like, you've put actual effort into this video, you've put a lot of effort into it, I'm gonna give it a like.
So I started this
for free. You know how you put this video for free. I will give you.
The very least I could do.
Yeah, I've already subscribed. Rang the bell.
So when I started, the big thing that I fell into a spiral of watching was Outside Xbox, and that started in like 2012. I want to say.
You've watched
all of it.
Yeah, since I've known you've watched Xbox.
I've liked every video they've ever produced.
Oh yeah. You watch the streams?
I've watched I've never watched a stream live because I'm never in time for it and I'm always doing things. I've always watched it back and then I've liked it. So I've done that solely for Xbox. So that's Xbox and Oxtra. And then other streams like Cold Ones and Smosh Games, Smosh Pit, Smosh Cast, not Spawn. I've then changed it to, that was a really good video. If I like it, at the very minimum I'm doing, they know they've got... I know this is so pandering, but like, I've liked all the videos that I've liked of their stuff, so at least they're getting positive feedback and all the stuff that I really like. Whereas I like everything that Xbox does, and they put out such an unbelievable sheer volume of content, every day, that it's just like, I'm just liking it just so you always know someone's going to like it.
I like how Xbox has become more of a... an actual channel now instead of just a top 10 channel.
Yeah, because that's how it started.
Yeah,
I think that's how a lot of video game channels started.
Don't get us wrong, they brought in the views.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that it was like them sat in a white room talking about it. I mean, like, this did this and this is this.
Yeah.
Like, when they talk about Psychonauts, because it's the same 10... we're talking about...
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Yeah, Zelda.
Yep, Zelda. Fallout New
Dishonored.
Vegas. Dishonored. There'll be something from Resi probably. There'll be a racing game if it's Mike, which is Outrun. Yeah.
But it's, you know what I mean? It's there used to be, it was them sat in a room, talking about the game aspects, show a bit of gameplay, and then move on to the next. That was, you know, it was kind of unique in that area. But to go from that and go, okay, we now have this crowd, and we're no longer really associated that much with Xbox anymore.
100%, yeah.
They've started to do PlayStation games.
Yeah.
On like PC, or not, and like, who is it? I'm not that familiar as you.
You don't know the law?
I know.
Let me tell you the law.
It's not Mike, it's not Andy, it's the other one.
Jane?
No, the
Ellen?
other guy.
Luke.
How Luke would always bring up Zelda because he was such a big fan. And then all of a sudden they were doing Breath of the Wild streams.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, they're not just tied to being Xbox anymore. They can actually venture out and have like all of them on the couch and laughing about what's going. It's you've followed, you've grown as a channel,
100%.
which is what, and you've grown as a channel and it's worked out.
100%.
Which not a lot of channels can do.
Yep. I think they set out such a good goal of cultivating an audience that will just like the content because they create good content, to a point where they've been like, okay, so we're going to start out doing this sort of stuff, and then we're going to eke into all the stuff that we really enjoy doing, to the point where now we're at a stage where there's lists. There's always going to be lists, but
That's
the majority,
the bread and butter.
the majority is, oh, we're going to all sit down and have a really nice time playing a video game and chatting to each other, and people are going to really enjoy watching it, and they do, to the point where, like, I think it was 3 years ago, it might be 3 years ago, they started their D&D Ox Venture.
Yes.
And that is massive.
Yeah, because there's like animated shorts and everything.
There's animated shorts, it's amazing. I mean, if you're not into D&D, not sure about what it is, there's at last count there was like 80 something, maybe 100 videos. There's so many of them, and it's such a lovely way of, if you have no idea what D&D is, they also don't know what D&D is for the first like 2 games. So it's very good at being like, this is kind of how it works and this is why it's fun. And yeah, for a channel to be able to go from making list videos to a few years time putting out D&D Ox Ventures and people watching it on the internet is wild, because that wouldn't have happened back in the day.
I think it's definitely from cementing these are our faces.
Yeah,
these are our faces, these are our personalities, these are the games that we like. So it's how Mike always talks about racing. Yeah. Big into cars. Like you go on his Instagram, there's always track days and whatever.
So they cultivated a fan base for themselves, which is, it's lovely. Because I don't think at any point they've done it to be like money grubbing or to push anything. They've just been like, this is what we love doing. Please make it possible for us to keep on doing it.
Yeah, it felt very much in the beginning like corporate.
Yes.
Because it went from
inside Xbox.
Oh, this is bringing it right back.
Let's just get
Let's bring it right back. It went from Inside Xbox, which was a weekly video that
roundup,
which was released on Early Days 360.
Yeah.
And it was just, a roundup of the week in Xbox. It was a big deal back in the day. Well, it was for our friend group, it was. Then all of a sudden it disappeared.
Yep.
It was Andy and Dan.
I can't remember.
Andy and Dan, because Dan had the lip piercing and the fringe.
Okay.
He was gone. I still follow him.
Nice. Just to the shops?
Yeah, just round the pub.
Nice guy.
Yeah. Just gatekeeping him.
At his gate.
Yeah. No, you're staying. I know your house better than you.
Sure about that.
But then it was just like...
Anyway.
Because then they came back as Oxbox, and it was Andy, Jane, and Mike.
Their first video is them being like, I think it's either the first, second, or third video is like, hello, we're a new channel, and the joke is, what should we call ourselves? 10 minutes go by.
Yeah.
Let's call ourselves Outside Xbox. Haha, everyone laughs. We can't call ourselves that. It's too stupid. Another 10 minutes go by. So Outside Xbox, yes. Yeah.
And then it was Extra,
Extra,
which was
a few years
Ellen
later. and Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen had her own channel, which I'm also subscribed to,
Oh, yeah.
which is Ickle Nelly Rose. She doesn't upload that much because obviously being in a YouTube channel is like a full-time job.
Yeah.
And Luke came from... this is showing my stalker ability. Luke came from retail.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you manage that gig?
No idea. But he pulled it off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love how we're just talking about another person's
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Like,
Go and watch that. They're really good.
Yeah. Do you want to start wrapping up, or do you want to get to another point and then?
I'll wrap up my gatekeeping thing because I think there's a good point of like our first gatekeeping. I know we've talked already about gatekeeping, then gone to another topic, and now I'm coming back, which is obviously the best way to have a conversation.
I'll scribble out podcast 2 on the notes. Right, okay. 3 for next week, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the points because we both want to talk about gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And we've both died on this hill many times in this past hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you wrap up of what you want to wrap up on the gatekeeping.
If there's time, we'll pick one of the 3 points that we were going to cover. But anyway, to wrap up.
No, keep that one in. Oh, yeah. It's chaos.
Good Lord. To wrap up on gatekeeping, I reckon for cars, all of the gatekeeping for cars can be fully stopped, prevented, and everyone can live harmoniously in a utopia if people who... You have to pass a test to get in a car. If everyone passed the test to get in a car and then did a smidge of research about cars, there would be no need for it. Because you would go, why would I pay an extra amount of money to buy a car that's got a badge on it that means nothing? When people who know cars know, oh, this badge means nothing. Mm-hmm. Your S-line means nothing. It's just an A3.
Yeah.
All of that can be avoided. And the only people it's ever going to annoy is very sad men like me who look at your car and be like, that's not a real vehicle. That sort of absolute snot-nosed, push glasses up nose rubbish where it's like... basically elitist, and it can all be just cut out and removed if you were just like, oh, a car company just wants more money from me so that I can think my car's better, that's it.
Are you
That's
trying
all
to
it
say
is.
that a car company might make a standard car, sell that same car with the fast car body kit and slap a badge on it?
You're talking crazy. Would they do such a thing?
I don't know, but maybe 2 minutes research? Kind of Shankar.
2 minutes research?
2 minutes of research.
We're in Dutch. Yeah.
It
would help, wouldn't it?
It would be like, okay, I'm literally just buying a bumper.
Yeah.
With an extra badge.
Pretty much.
Do research. Who would have thought it? Revise.
Yeah. This is the thing. Buying a car is, for a lot of people, the biggest expense that you will shell out in your life, apart from a house. That you probably will shell out at least twice. Think about it.
No, I would say even more than that.
At least.
A car.
At least. Yeah. Because like I know a lot of friends who like they have a car and they will drive it until it's dead and they will get another car and that will be it for them. Mm-hmm. But like for something that's such a big expense, just some research. Because like one of the best things that you can do just for like growing your mind is be like, oh, something I don't know about that I need to know about for 10 minutes to make a choice. I'll do a little bit of research on it. Mm-hmm. And at the very least, you're going to do a tiny bit of research, learn something, make a decision, move on. At the best, you're going to have an interest for a long time. So just do it. Just whenever you can.
So what we're really trying to say is buy electric.
Yeah.
Because I know you both very well. Something that you both gatekeep is music.
We both do gig. I've actually one of my points for it can all tie in, David.
Let's all tie in. We're covering a second point, listener.
Second point, but it's still gatekeeping. Okay. If you want, we'll wrap up on this one because we can just say so the point is.
I imagine we're not just gonna say.
I know it's gonna go rambling again. But the point is, musical artists with one shit album.
Okay.
Which, again, and now reading that and after having this fucking discussion, it's just gatekeeping again.
Okay. What? So, okay. So, what do you mean specifically? Let's hone in.
They're not a bad artist. You listen to them frequently, but you just think that one album that they put out.
Are you thinking Arctic Monkeys when you wrote that?
It is the obvious choice to go Arctic Monkeys, but I mean, like, it's just not their best. You're thinking they've either went through the David Bowie phase and which Arctic Monkeys did and didn't pay off. They've went through a psychedelic phase. They've tried to expand a little bit. They've brought new people in and it just hasn't worked.
Both of you are like, alright, I listen to this person. Oh, I've heard this person on the radio. I can never listen again.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll listen, like, Little Dicky.
Yeah.
You used to love Little Dicky. And then everyone else did. And you were like, here.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay. Bethan's probably found Little Dicky on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Watch his YouTube. You're unwell, all of a sudden. It's not a bad thing, but you know what it's like. You find a little niche thing that you enjoy, and then they get big.
Yeah.
And that's Little Dicky, and then all of a sudden, I know he's a rapper, and it's probably shit to hear, but you're also the funny guy.
Yeah.
So when you start rapping seriously, and then people go, but it's not funny, and then you get offended by that, tough shit. You're that guy. Like, you can't be like, I'm reinventing myself just after making it, because that's not
how it works.
That's not how that works. You're going to push a lot of your fans away when you're going, I'm actually serious now that I've made it. At Georgie.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think there is also like, so it does sound gatekeepery, and that is true because
that is the theme of this week's podcast.
And guess what? We're still on that topic. We've just changed the subtopic.
What are we naming this week's episode? Gatekeeping old men.
Iron Man 2. The Rise of Hydra. Anyway, so I'm going to give a few examples. I'm looking at Bethan. Me and Bethan are fans of Halsey.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you remember when Halsey was good?
Yes.
Remember the Badlands album?
The best album.
An excellent album written when she was very depressed, and it wrote classically good music that spoke to depressed little boys and girls.
I mean, yes, us. This lockdown.
Us.
Yes.
I have never listened to Halsey. I've listened to the occasional song.
That explains why you're happy.
Is this the one after she broke up with Matty Healy?
During the breakup with Matty Healy.
Okay, so Big Sads. I like
Big Sads.
Carry on.
And because of the Big Sads, she wrote a very heartfelt, sad album. There was other things as well. There were singles and other things before then. But like a good album. And then after a lot of like hard work on her part, got a few more tracks with other people. She worked with Khalid for a bit as well. And stuff started getting on the radio. And the issue comes where you go from someone who wrote very heartfelt things about specific things that have happened in your life that are still probably happening, but you have a massive following, which is excellent. But your massive following expects you to crank out those songs.
Are we talking about Halsey or Taylor Swift here?
Or Billie Eilish.
Yeah. Or any other large female singer who is venturing a little bit into pop.
You get a massive following, and then they want it is exactly the Rick and Morty effect of here's a lovely thing that we can all enjoy, and then pop culture gets a hold of it,
and then
like,
it's in
ha
Fortnite.
ha, look, a pickle, and then suddenly it's like, oh well, we're gonna just do similar things to this crap that everyone else liked because more people will watch it.
We're talking about Frozen again.
We're talking about Frozen again. So yeah, I'll gatekeep and die on this hill because it creates absolute crap on the radio to a point where I dislike listening to the radio because it just cultivates people coming from good stuff and then being like, right, our next entire album of singles, which is a big issue anyway, our entire album of singles is going to be MIDI bass, MIDI drums, me on vocals, that's it, talking about pretty nonsense stuff because it sold last time, and because I've got that fan base, that I've banked from writing good stuff, they'll listen to the same sort of stuff because it's a similar thing that I've been doing, but it's just quick and out and released.
It's been written by a bunch of guys on a table somewhere in a boardroom, and they've just went, what are the quick fire words that attract bigger audiences?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can write your music.
Yep.
And we'll put it on the B side.
Mm-hmm. I'm very worried because I'm a bit of a kid who's like, what? You haven't heard of this band that no one's heard of? I love them. But there are two artists that have been on like a few of my playlists for a long time that I'm almost hoping, and it's really horrible, almost hoping that they stay niche because I really like what they do, and I know that if BBC Introducing or Radio 2 or Heart or Capital got a hold of them, within a year they'd be writing crap. And I hate that so much.
They'd just be publishing shit that everybody else has said and
100%.
sang about, and it's the same like structure of music.
Yep.
There's nothing special, there's nothing out there, they're very limited. They've got to make sales, basically.
I was going to say the names there on the podcast, and I'm thinking, nah.
No, that's for David.
me.
That's for David.
I found it.
Get it out! Get it out!
On a side note, if you could make Preston Miko famous, I'd be very grateful. Because I reckon that's one band that probably wouldn't, because it is just a three-piece of musicians.
I've got one artist that I would very much like to just call out now, and then we'll end it if you'd like.
Are we starting beef?
Yes.
Podcast 2, and we're already starting beef.
I'll throw down. I will.
Do we need to get
happily.
into shape for some boxing?
Yeah, I mean he's quite scrawny.
All right. Okay.
I will happily die on this hill. Brandon Flowers, and the band that is the Killers.
Right.
Overrated. I'm not saying just one album. He can't sing.
Good Lord.
He can't sing, and I don't know how he keeps on getting away with it.
Okay.
I don't know how they can keep on pumping out the same albums of shit, and it.
Interesting.
I know, it's very much my opinion.
You're speaking to a man who is in a cover band of the Killers.
Yeah, but you're not singing.
True.
I'm not saying the Killers are shit. I'm saying that Brandon Flowers can't sing. I don't know. I think it was probably because I was brought up during that time where the Killers were on the radio at all points, every day, and now his voice just grates on us. But I can't sing. And that wraps up our grumpy old man birthday episode. What do we achieve this week?
Well, we achieved one bullet point.
No. We achieved more than that, just that, David. We've set a tone for the rest of the podcast.
We were looking for our voice. Who knew we'd find it in being grumpy?
Judgmental.
Yes.
Yeah. Condescending tones. Elitist attitudes. And we'll just carry on like that. So, thank you very much for listening. That's how we're ending. That's how we're ending. Thank you very much for listening, David.
Oh, how do I follow that?
I don't know.
Well, it's been lovely. I hope to do it again. No.
We've been joined by the dog. The dog is telling us it's time to wrap. Isn't that right, Raymond?
Yeah, it's time.
Raymond says it's now time for bed and stop distracting me.
Well, if you like this, thank you. If you've got any ideas of what you would like us to do for future podcasts, I mean, we've got 3 bullet points that we'll probably use next time, and
we still won't even get through it next week.
Yeah, probably not. We've got a month's worth of content here.
Yes, excellent.
But also we're toying with the idea of one day possibly getting in video. We're unsure.
Yeah, I can see it maybe one day, but for the time we've just got a crisp new mic. Yeah, and I think that's quite nice for now.
Well, for now, it's been lovely chatting.
Has.
Last thing to say is obviously good evening, boys.
Oh, good evening, boys. See you next week.